Belgian Grand Prix sprint shootout was delayed by over half an hour, and this was due to rainy weather at the Spa race circuit. The Belgian-born Max Verstappen overcoming a difficult start in the 11-lap shootout. Of course, McLaren's Oscar Piastri threatening to upstage the world champion. That's when he overtook him. But then there was the safety car procession that allowed Verstappen to get close to Piastri. Piastri then finishing second, with Pierre Gasly settling for third in that shootout. The seven-time world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton finishing seventh. And of course, now we're going to try and break down the sprint race, the quali, and maybe see what we can get out of today's main race. Of course, I have our resident analyst and MotorZar TV founder, Lufefe Mayekiso, in studio with me. Fluffy, always a great time having you joining us. That sprint race and then quali, you've got Max Verstappen winning sprint and Max Verstappen not sitting on pole position after the quali session. Just try and help me understand and help us understand, the viewers as well, what happened.
Okay, morning, and thank you for having me once more. So what has been introduced into F1 of late with the new commercial rights owners is the sprint format, which is a format of racing which is done in the junior formulas. So it was introduced to F1 last season, and then it was revised this season. So what will then happen is there will be a shorter format of the race, which is 1/3 of the full race distance, known as a sprint. So in order to determine the grid for the sprint race, you need to do a sprint qualifying known as the sprint shootout. So that's where Max qualified in pole position for the sprint race yesterday. But now he has a 5-place grid penalty for a gearbox change because he's only allowed to use, I think, 3 gearboxes per season. So he's switched to his 4th. And if you use the 4th one, you get a penalty of 5 seconds. And that's why he's starting in 6th place today. Otherwise, he did qualify on pole in the quali for the race on Friday.
Did he, not even did he, does it even matter where he's starting today, given how stupid that car is and what it is it does? I mean, we've seen with how Sergio Perez performed to show that Red Bull will probably get their next victory. I think it's going to be, what, 13th of the season? Just them. Does it matter where he starts today? Can Charles Leclerc actually keep him at bay?
To be honest, I don't see anyone beating Max Verstappen today. If anyone can try to race him, it's his teammate Sergio Perez, who's starting on the front row in 2nd place alongside Charles Leclerc. Otherwise, I can see Max breezing straight past within 10 laps into either the lead or 2nd place, then fighting for the lead. Because that car, like you say, is stupidly fast.
Your favorite, my favorite, probably majority of the world's favorite, Sir Lewis Hamilton. I don't know what it is that he's either doing with the car or that Mercedes have managed to try and do with the car in terms of its improvement. Can he do podium? He's starting 3rd, but can he finish podium?
Yeah, definitely. I think right now, between Mercedes and McLaren, they're either the 2nd fastest car. It's hard to say between McLaren and Mercedes which one is faster, but looking at the data from the Hungarian Grand Prix, there's 0.004 of a second in race pace on the data analysis based on last week's race. So there's very little in it between McLaren and Mercedes. So if Lewis doesn't finish 2nd, he can finish 3rd today.
I asked this question with the Hungarian Grand Prix as well, where I was like, where does Zach Brown all of a sudden find things to do with his car? Because Oscar Piastri went from the guy that you would probably see sitting 17th, maybe 16th if he was lucky, to now he's out there giving Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz Jr., Sir Lewis Hamilton and George Russell a good run for their money. He and Lando Norris, yes, but Oscar Piastri specifically, I'm loving how he looked in the shootout. I'm loving how he looked in the quali. Just McLaren, are they getting better? Are they getting to that point where we feel maybe they might just start fighting for the title?
Well, McLaren traditionally are a top team. So in the last decade, for them to be struggling in the manner that we've seen them has been like out of place, considering how well they did prior to, say, 2013. So Oscar Piastri, he's a generational talent.
Yeah.
I've been watching him since he was in F3 in 2020. And he's supreme. There's no one who can match him from the drivers he was racing with in junior formulas. So what he's doing now in F1, it's no surprise to me. And this is just the beginning. I expect him to go right to the top.
Give me a podium.
Okay, let's go for Max. It should be Sergio, but Sergio is very dicey. These days, it's very iffy with him.
Yeah.
So I will go for a wild card and say Oscar second, Lewis third.
All right. And I know before they go into our winter break, their summer break, this is the last race before we come back at the end of August. I can only but imagine that MotorZar TV has got a proper winter farewell watch along today. We won't mention where it's going to be happening. They can just go and check MotorZar TV on socials. Just what can if I show up, what can I expect at the watch along?
Maybe something like that.
Something like that.
Let's leave
Say
it
no more. MotorZar TV, of course, on all social media platforms. That's where you can find the guys as they do their traditional watch-alongs. That's going to be happening for today's Belgian Grand Prix in Spa. Of course, MotorZar TV founder, this is Lufefe Mayekiso, of course, our regular resident. You're going to be seeing him again in a month's time, maybe even before, who knows? Something special might happen during the summer break of Formula One. But that's where we're going to be leaving it with him.